Welcome back to the Sunday Leagues Investors Podcast / YouTube. However, this is a little bit different because I have Raymond from Asiancards, and I have something really special to kind of let y'all know about on what we've been up to. If you've been following me or Raymond, we actually started a podcast, or at least I jumped into your podcast. It's more like that, right, Raymond? I was just like, hey, I want to just talk more about cards and everything like that. And you're like, hey, just jump on the podcast, and we're trying something different. And this is a podcast about just cards in general. Like I do mainly soccer and footy cards, and Raymond does the rest and footy cards.
Exactly.
So you want to just quickly give like a little snippet, because I know on my channel they might not know you.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Raymond, otherwise known on the internet / Instagram as Asiancards, all one word. I run a Facebook group where I have people who buy and sell cards. I am pretty active on Facebook in terms of buying and selling, go to a lot of shows. So yeah, if I bump into you, please stop over and say hi.
Or you'll stop them, because Raymond is very infamous of just saying, hey, what's in your case?
Pretty much, yeah.
Sure.
If you've been listening to the previous episodes, I am guilty of that. And I am shameless about just stopping people in their tracks, asking them what they
100%.
have.
100%.
Yeah, but pleasure to be on here.
Yeah, and if you ever meet Raymond with me, I'm always embarrassed. He's always plugging me. So, but no, I this is going to be really cool to let people like from my community to figure, if they're looking for more just card collecting talk. I think this is a great episode, great channel to look into. So like the main episodes are going to be on Asiancards, so check that out on Spotify. But we'll do, time to time we'll post it on YouTube, so y'all can get like the deets. But let's talk about what we've been up to, man. Like, what have you been up to, Raymond?
Yeah, let's get into it. So in the past week, I've been trying to trade a lot of cards.
I see, bro. Oh my God.
I don't know if I mentioned it in my previous episode, but I kind of like am changing my strategy. I created a Google Drive where I have good front and back photos of the cards with prices on them. And I've just been like sending them to people who, ask me what I have available. And I found that like pretty efficient, better than saving all the info on my camera roll and clicking one by one. So far, it's been pretty successful. I mean, last week, what did I do last week? I picked up a LeBron rookie black refractor BGS 9. Traded, I don't have it in hand yet because PWCC takes a long time to ship. I have, what else do I have? I got a LeBron 2003 Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 9, the base, not the black one.
Right.
I bought some stuff from Heritage Auctions, and it all arrived today. It took about 20 days for them to ship the items to me, but finally got them.
Wait, hold up. 20 days?
Yeah.
Were they like wrapping it for you or something? Like, what were they doing? Did they grade it for you too?
It's gold wrapped with diamond studded. I didn't know this, but apparently like you can pay for like expedited shipping. So I think it's extra $50 to have them out the same day. Or you can choose to wait an extra like 20 days and, not pay that fee. This is my first time ordering from Heritage Auctions, so I didn't know about the expedited option. So I saw a lot of people get their stuff a lot earlier than me, and I was just curious. I was like curious why. So I called them.
Forget about me.
Yeah, I was like, call them. They're like, yeah, they have an expedited option.
So were they? It's like a mid end, or were you doing a high end for Heritage? Because these type of auction houses are like usually for high end, and I know you are kind of like you're the higher end out of us too.
It was a mix of everything. Like I think basically anything that I thought was pretty cool, pretty interesting, I tried picking up. Probably in terms of like dollar amount, the most expensive card was a LeBron Topps Chrome Refractor BGS 8.5, which I think ended pretty cheap. So I'm glad to have picked that one up. What else did I get? I got a 1996 Kobe Draft Redemptions PSA 9. I don't know if you know that card, but it's like it has foil edges. It's like very shiny. He's like doing a layup.
I'll look it up. Don't worry.
I got, what else did I get? LeBron Topps BGS 9.5. It was an old label, which is why I got it. I really like old label cards. Like the BGS grades are on the back.
Oh, is there a reason why you do that? Or that's actually sick, dude. Whoa. the draft redemption, it's like a cracked ice type of deal.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's the better way to describe it. But cracked ice type card.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad, man. I know I was seeing you on the Asian cards group. You're trying to trade some big cards. And I was like, my God, like what you're trading is something that I aspire to be.
One day. Next year, tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Yeah. And you're going to a card show today, or what's up?
Oh yeah, I heard about a card show happening in New Jersey a few days ago. So it's going to be Friday through Sunday. It's about an hour away from the city, so I'm going to have to take a public bus there. I don't really take buses, so we'll see if I actually end up in the right city.
Sorry, I forgot who I'm talking to.
Oh no, not like that.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. The Uber would have been like $200. I looked at it and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna pay $200 to go one way to a show.
I would pay $15K for a card, but I would never pay $200 for an Uber. That's the wise words from Raymond.
The bus is $6 one way. Gonna do that. We'll see how it is. The show starts at 3 p.m. So I'm going to go pick up my cards, withdraw some money from the bank, and then go on a buying spree. I feel like the first days are like days where you find a lot of quantity. It's like a kid. I'm like a kid in a candy shop. It's just awesome, like walking through everything, seeing all the nice stuff out there.
I do. I feel like it's funny you say Friday is like buying day. I think that's actually true. Like I really do, because I think a lot of people kind of think about how Sunday is the day to get the best deals. But if you're chasing like things that are like you really want, especially, I mean, knowing you, Raymond, you chase like cards that are like you can't really find in general. So you have to take it. You gotta just take it from the neck, like when you see it on Friday, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like if you don't take it, someone else will, right? Like
exactly.
What I take, like what I want is what a lot of people other people want too,
True.
Right? So, they're likely going to go after that too, especially if it's like fairly priced, right? It'll be gone. Also, like from a dealer's perspective, right? Like you want money for the show too, right? Like you want to be able to spend. Say, for example, like you get $3,000 for a card. You want to be able to use that $3,000 during the course of that 3 days of the show, right? If you get on Sunday, like what are you going to do with $3,000 in cash? Like you're just going to bring it home. Like you're going to have to wait till next show, which who knows when that is, right?
But yeah, that's what happened to me on Friday when I was at the VIP trade night at Collectors Con. Some guy wanted my Jason Tatum silver prism. I was like crying about the $100. But no, I knew that if I could have $1,900, I can use that and just buy at, someone selling something at my table, and I could just put it right back to the display.
Exactly. Yeah. There's like an opportunity cost to passing up on some cash early on in the show.
Damn, that's a dime, bro. That's a dime. You just threw out a dime for there. Yeah.
Or just bring a lot of cash to the show to begin with, right? And you have to worry about it. But like I found that like, oh, interesting. At like in Dallas and at the National, I went to a few banks to get money, and like they all ran out of money because everyone from the show was going there, and they weren't expecting so many people to be withdrawing cash at once. So I'd recommend getting money from like your local bank first, bringing it on the plane there, and then instead of going to like the local banks, because you're going to be out of luck.
Interesting.
They're not.
I've never had that issue. So usually they're like they're like, oh, there's no money in my bank account.
Nothing yet.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to, Brian?
So I had got my submission back from PSA. It's our last regular submission that came through, that popped with our group, and it went pretty well, man. Like our card grades went very well. We hit some really insane cards, a lot of 10s, a lot of 9s. But one thing I noticed is that, and it hurts me to say this because I this is my business. But I also don't want to be trying to make money. Just trying to make money from the community, right? Like the idea to do grading is to give value. And I feel like, man, the stickers in these slabs, I don't know how they're going to hold long-term from condition wise. Have you seen a slab in stickers, like a sticker in a PSA slab yet? One of those new slabs?
I think so. They put them in like they put them between two sheets of plastic, right? Like
yeah,
two,
it's like
plastic films
it's like a bubble.
Yep.
Yeah, you see the bubbles and everything. So I've been thinking about it, and people have been kind of just reaching out to me like, what happens to these stickers long term, like the actual condition wise, because they're these stickers are super condition sensitive. Like what happens? Because I'm actually just like thinking about my stickers, like, man, like if this screws up my sticker, I'm gonna be pissed.
So what exactly about the slab do you think will damage your sticker? Is it
So
like the pressing causing bubbles
yeah,
in the film between the two layers?
yeah. What would happen over time, basically?
Oh, okay, I see.
Right? Because beforehand, what the problem with these stickers was it would slide. So if
Yeah.
you're carrying these stickers and these older slabs, like you could be damaging corners, the edges. Now we're starting to think like, what happens to the surface, right? With the eye appeal, especially with these larger stickers, like what happens? I don't know much about it, but I just been it's a little concerning, And another thing is, I'm like, I don't know if people should be subbing. I'm nearly convinced that you should not be subbing bulk stickers at PSA. I just don't think it's a great. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but recently, man, every time I see it, you're almost always guaranteed a 6 somewhere.
Yeah, that's been my experience too. Like, not only is it hard to find them like well centered, but there's always going to be some like they're really flimsy, right, and floppy. So
yeah, exactly.
You feel them in your hand, you know that thing is going to be very fragile and very prone to any condition issues. But in terms of like holding like protection for the slab, like I think PSA has like a lot of experience dealing with stickers, right? I mean, like they've been grading 1986 Fleer stickers, for 20, almost 40 years now, right? And like those haven't really had any condition like deterioration.
But why would they have to change the slabs over the years, though, right? You see what I'm trying to say? Like, it's like they're trying new things, but like, it doesn't even look good.
I think it's I think that's more of an issue with like the sizing rather than like the slabs, right? Like, I think like for example, like if you had like a sticker that was the size of like the 86 Jordan card, like that would 100% be fine, right? But like, I feel like it's more of an issue with like the sizing. Like, for example, Holland or Ronaldo sticker, right? Those are like significantly smaller, like a standard size card. So like it seems like that's what you're concerned about, right? Just like the thing sliding up and down. That was the problem with the old slabs, right? They just slide up and down, and then you wouldn't really know where it would end up after shipping it somewhere, where the sticker would end up in the case, right?
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. And people have been bringing it up to me, and it doesn't look good. Like we had this like 10 sticker, and you just see a big bubble on top. I'm just like, I don't know what to tell this guy. I was like, I don't feel fully convinced. This looks great. It might say 10, but it looks like a 6. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. I think what SGC does for stickers or like smaller size cards is they have like they size the holder to fit the card size, and they have like recesses in each of the 4 corners so that the corners don't actually touch. Sorry, the case doesn't actually touch the corners. It only touches the edges. There's like boxes, if you look closely, like boxes on the corners, which I think is really interesting. I think PSA, if they did that would be really, really cool, right? But that's like more work.
Of course. And it's, we're not big enough apparently yet. So, I mean, I'm glad they're trying different things. That's one thing I will say. They are trying different things. And another thing is I'm getting a lot of minimum size requirements grades, as in like they're not putting them in slabs.
Yeah. No,
that's been happening a lot. I don't know if that's been happening to you, but that's what has been happening to our guys.
For stickers or for cards?
Cards.
For cards. I've had that happen to stickers. I've had that happen to cards sometimes as well, but probably more so with stickers because they're cut weirdly. But it seems like that happens. Yeah, there's like a lot of.
I'm just venting to you right now, Raymond.
Not the charge for this.
Like I'm like talking to you as if you're like my PSA rep.
I'm gonna have to. Brian, your order will be done soon. Just calm down.
Man. Yeah, where's my economy? All these things. But no, I mean, but overall, it was good. It's just some these little things. I'm just like, I don't know what to tell people, but it is what it is. And PSA still, out of the rest, is still probably better than the other grading companies.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, man.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, as a group subber, like, to be honest, like, you're not responsible for people's grades, right? People should be responsible for their own grades. You're not responsible for looking at their cards. Like, you shouldn't be touching their cards. You're just responsible for mailing the cards in, right?
100%. Yeah. Unless I'm doing a review.
I don't think there's a need to like justify yourself like, oh, this card graded X because, because of Y, right? Like you're just like the middleman.
Yeah.
Rather than
and it hurts, right? Because I don't like doing that sometimes because I'm just like, I want to give I want to make it, I get too sometimes emotionally invested, which is kind of like my downside is a little bit, but it, like I said, it is what it is. But
yeah.
Anyways, there's more things to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Besides just me venting about PSA, even though I'm still going to use them. You sent me a Facebook message, and I'm so glad you sent me that Facebook message about that Instagram live. And Raymond, you got to do the honors of explaining what happened because that was super interesting.
Yeah. So just a backstory. So Rick Probstein from Probstein123 recently created an Instagram account to basically they're getting into more content. They showcase a lot of the cards that are on auction. Rick goes through some of his favorite cards in his collection. He has like 10 PSA 10 Clear Jordans, like 50 Lucas Silver PSA 10s. Really interesting stuff. But anyways, they're starting to create more content, which I love. It's great to see kind of like an auction house that does not have a lot of transparency, go full force into that. So I think, it's awesome. I love watching the videos every time they pop up. But anyways, on Wednesday, Rick announced that he was doing an interview with Bill Mastro. So for those of you guys who don't know, Bill Mastro used to run Mastro Auctions, which was basically the auction houses way before Probstein on eBay, way before PWCC, way before Golden. They pioneered everything. Bill Mastro was eventually ousted from the industry after there were there was proof of him shill bidding his own cards and the cards of his best customers, right? And the way he did that was, right now, for example, when you place a bid on eBay, if you're the highest bidder and you put in a bid for like $5,000, the price that shows is the second highest auction price, right? So your highest bid is hidden from everyone else. Same with Golden, right? On their website, if you look closely, it says we have auction software that hides the top bidder from both Golden employees as well as the public, right? But back in Bill Mastro's time,
can we expand on that just because it kind of is confusing? I can see this being confusing. So basically, you're saying like if you put $5,000 of your top bid on eBay, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be $5,000 for that card.
Yeah. So say Brian and I are competing in an auction, right? Brian bids $3,000. I bid $5,000. My bid is higher than Brian's. But what shows on the eBay website will be something like 3,025 or like 3,100, right? 3,000 plus some small increment, not 5,000. When Brian tries to bid again, if he bids 3,500, it'll say you have been outbid. The price will go to 3.5K. If he puts 4,000, the price will go to 4K. Say you have been outbid. If it goes to 5K, it'll say you have been outbid. He has to bid more than 5K plus the increment for the price for him to win the auction again. So basically, Bill Mastro knew what everyone's max bid was. So he would have other accounts to bid up to that max bid, but not to the max bid in order to not win the auction, right? So that would thereby push the price of his customers' cars up. They're happy, right? They get more money at the end of the day. Mastro Auctions gets a higher fee because the fee is collected in a higher base amount. And then I think in the grander scheme, right, like they have a great reputation now, right? Because they're known for being the premier auction house, which has record-breaking prices, and people want to sell all of their best cards with them. So anyways, he was exposed for shill bidding. That was one thing. Another thing was he was accused of trimming a T206 Honus Wagner card. For those who don't know, like that's the holy grail of not only like baseball cards, but probably all cards. He trimmed he told a story of like trimming the card, and basically he ended up going to jail for it for about 20 months. So he told everyone, he was like, oh, he bought it in a collection. It was on like an uncut sheet. The person had trimmed. So you're supposed to cut cards from uncut sheets, right? So the person had cut the top and bottom perfectly, but the sides were not cut perfectly, so he trimmed the sides. And that was kind of his story. But yeah, overall, I think it was a really interesting interview. What did you think, Brian?
So before I get into like before I get into the interview thoughts, I think this is a good lesson for people that this was through PSA, right? The trimming scandal.
The card was graded PSA 8. It's the
Exactly.
highest, I think it's the highest rated Hone Swagger.
Yeah, and they didn't exile that card, right? It's still like
I think it's still a PSA 8, but everyone knows it's trimmed.
Exactly. So this is just an interesting lesson how we have all this hot take reality, but in the grand scheme of things, for example, Beckett with Cristiano Ronaldo stickers, right? How much does that matter for these Beckett slabs? Because I get that. I've been getting that question a lot, and I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure how like, I hate to say it like that, but like, just kind of like put my hands up. Like there's not one grading company is perfect. But I will say that interview was pretty wild, pretty crazy. I remember just watching the comments, like just people were doing like the scissor emoji constantly. It was like doing a scissor emoji, and then I was like, man, what's going on? This guy a good barber or something? But then I started reading his story, and I just thought it was crazy. This guy went to the federal prison off of like just trimming sports. I mean, obviously there's other things, but one take I did think it was super interesting that doesn't get talked about is how he said that these auction houses, these premier auction houses, not just cards, but collectibles, arts, they all do what he did.
Yeah, that was
the biggest takeaway.
Now that you mention it, I thought that was super shocking when I heard that.
He straight up just said that, yeah.
Yeah, so basically what he said was like, this guy used to work at like Sotheby's. He says that when you go to like a New York showroom where people bid on like pieces of art, collectibles, anything like that, a lot of those, you see that there's like a lot of action and bids being placed. But he's like, oh, yeah, a lot of this action and bids, these are all fake bids placed by people to bump the price up or just to make it seem like there is some sort of action. Which made me think, like, I live in New York. I'm gonna go watch one of these. I'm gonna sign myself up. I think they're like public viewings, easy to watch these auctions. Get in, right? But that was surprising.
It kind of reminded me of the meme of like the puppet like turning his head around. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, the Ernie.
Like that was me. That was literally me. And when he said that, I was just like, do we all live in a lie? And it kind of just gave me perspective. Like we cry sometimes about like the 100, something gets shoved there for like $1,000. Like if that is true, what does that mean for the whole entire grand scheme of things?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's insane. That's crazy. But
librarian. Another funny thing, he said he was a librarian in federal prison. I was like,
that's true.
Cool.
Yeah, he was. Apparently, he worked. He was like a preacher or something as well, right? And then he was the librarian. Interesting stuff. And he went to the National, which I was also.
Dude, that was the craziest part. I was like, bro, I went to the National with a guy that went to the federal prison. Pretty
funny.
That's pretty crazy.
I wouldn't have recognized him, but like if someone had said like, "Oh, that's Bill Master," I would have known. But
would you got an auto? Would you gonna pick?
Definitely.
Would you? I mean, just listening, I would just want to pick, like, honestly, the auto too.
Oh, I think it would have been interesting. Yeah, I mean,
but what do you think though, in general? Like, I guess the conversation's like, should he be ousted from the hobby? Should he be let in? I don't know if we want to go down this route.
Yeah, I think for me, like, everyone deserves a second chance, regardless of what bad stuff you've done. And I agree with Bill. He talked about how he served his time in a federal prison. Master Auctions no longer operates. He doesn't really buy and sell cards anymore. I think as long as that's true, I think that's okay, right? Like he can still collect cards. Like to me, like that doesn't really matter, right? He likes collecting cards. Like he's not affecting any, like, not hurting anyone. Like that's fine, right?
If he had a table, would you buy one of his cards?
No. I think that's a little. Yeah, I don't think.
I mean, hypothetical.
I think it's okay to the extent where like he's like collecting his own cards, his own PC, like that's fine, right? But like I think he should not be allowed to deal in the hobby again.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Nor do you want to. No, nor do you want to, right? Like.
Man, how wild would it be? He had like a dealer table. I mean, I'm just like, dude, like, give me your mystery pack, baby. Like, I want to see what you got.
Let's see which of these cards are smaller than usual.
Exactly. How many minimum grade requirement will I get from PSA this time? So let's move on. But let's move on to another topic that kind of made me think a little bit. I think I messaged you, or you I forgot who messaged who.
I always message you, Brian. I'm on top of everything.
You are on top of everything. Usually I'm on top of everything, but you're just more on top of everything. So.
Okay. Yeah, your turn. You talk about it.
Okay, I'll talk about it. So Raymond messaged me a post from PSA, and this is kind of crazy to me. PSA has this crossover review, and I actually thought they kind of just shunned it. Like, they're not going to do this no more. But they just recently posted, I think it was a LeBron Exquisite, right?
It was a LeBron Exquisite RPA, number 299.
LeBron Exquisite RPA. I think there was another card. I just remember seeing that LeBron. I was just like, that's all I need to see.
There was also another card was a 2018 Luka Blue Prism, number to 7. Blue Shimmer Prism, number to 7.
Oh, Jesus. So those used to be BGS slabs, and they crossed over to a PSA 10 slab. And PSA is owning it all. They're just like, hey, guys, do your crossovers with us. We'll take your BGS slabs, SGC slabs. We'll review it and give you a grade from us. And I thought they actually shunned it. And that made me think, should I send in my BGS 9.5 Mega Cracks Messi 71 BIS? And I think Raymond was like, you probably should take it's worth the risk. The upside's too high. But I can't do it though. Because I see the whitening. I look at the card, I'm just like, that's not a 10 to me.
Oh, you see problems with it?
Yeah, I see problems with it. I don't think it's a 10 to me. So I kind of reviewed it with other people. But what's really interesting is that I feel like this could be like one of those traps, right? Like PSA is trying to have, it's like that gambling aspect of breaking packs. It's like, what if I take my BGS 9.5 and get a PSA 10? Just think about the upside. And that's the risk that people are willing to take. But I don't know if it's actually going to really have, like, a lot of people are going to succeed in that aspect.
Yeah, no, I think, in my opinion, it's a 100% political move, right? By crossing over BGS to PSA slabs, people want to do it because of the value increase, right? But it's also kind of, you're having more PSA slabs in the market. They're kind of more established as the market leader. That post, I had 10 people message me after PSA posted that saying, did you see that? I'm going to start crossing over now. I'm going to try, right? I have these cards with some nice subs. I'll give it a try. And they might work, right? But they succeeded, right? They showed people that the crossover was possible. And someone, really paid off, got a strong payoff from that. But now a lot of other people want to send in cards. Like, I bet at the show people are talking to, people are going to be talking about that. It's a pop one. It's probably the best LeBron card in existence. It crossed over from a BGS 9.5. It was a min gem, but there were 2 10 subs. It had 9 corners, 10 centering, and I believe 10 surface. Right.
I'm actually going to show it real quick. So this is what it is.
So beautiful.
It is beautiful. And that was like wasn't that like one of the most expensive LeBron cards you can get on the market?
That is one of the most expensive LeBron cards, yes. So if you look at that card, one thing I learned also was like Spinatron. He's like a huge collector of cards. One of the best collections I've ever seen. If you scroll back, he was talking about how like there's a 3-color patch, right? You see the maroon, the gold, and the white.
Yeah.
People decide value based on that. But also he said like there's a 5-color break. So if you look at the patch window, it goes from red to gold to white to gold again and then to red. So the color changes 5 times. And that affects the eye appeal too, right? But that wasn't really something I really looked at before, but like I guess people, they think about that too. Like,
does it matter to you? Because like if I'm gonna be selling high end, I'm trying to think what Raymond is thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now I know what to call it, right? Gotcha. I guess it always subconsciously affected, but like you can't really get a better patch than that. Like that's
that's as good as it gets. Except the logo is probably like the best, right? I'm assuming. I don't know high end, but
I don't think these cards have like you. First of all, like I don't think you can get the logo in here. It's too small, and also I don't think there's any exquisites with logos.
Okay.
Like the rest of the patches are like pretty crappy.
So it was in the BGS lab. It was one of the most expensive. Now, does this make this the most expensive?
There might be more expensive LeBron cards, but like this is up there.
Okay.
Like these cards are super hard to grade. Look at the auto; it's very clean.
Dude, I can't imagine what BGS is thinking, bro. Because like the thing with people that what they say about BGS is like they actually believe the BGS is still there because look at, like, for example, they'll be like BGS is dead. They'll be like, oh well, look at BGS sales that are happening, right? These multi-million-dollar sales for BGS.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine what BGS is thinking.
Yeah, I still submit to BGS. I think there are certain cases where it makes sense to submit to BGS.
Yeah, I sound like a huge BGS hater, but I like them. I like their slabs, but I'm just putting that out there.
I think it's also pretty cool how PSA is showing like the recent high grades of really expensive cards. Like if you scroll down, I believe there was a Kobe Gold Refractor from 08 that was posted in a PSA 10. That one, yeah, the second. I saw it yesterday. If you look at the serial number, that was just graded pretty recently. But I think they're trying to. It actually looks a little bit off center. It looks a bit off center. You see it?
You said wow.
Right. Oh yeah. I really commented on it. Beautiful card. But anyways, I think they're, I think it's cool that they're displaying all these images. I think they're doing that to show that you can still get high grades from us, especially if you submit expensive cards. That's kind of how I'm reading it.
That's how you're interpreting it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Another point I wanted to bring up was like, if you think about it from PSA's perspective, like crossing stuff over is extremely risky, right? Like you have to, the first part is like, you have to review the card through the slab. If it's such as the BGS slab, that's very hard to review because you have the plastic, which is pretty thick to begin with. And then you have like the plastic sleeve thing you have to look through.
You have to cut it out too.
You have to cut it. Well, you can't. People always have min grades on them, so you don't cut them out, right? You have to look through everything through the case, and it's like, okay, what if there's a defect on the card that you don't see until you cut open the card, right? Then PSA is liable, right? Then they're in trouble. They can also damage the card when cracking it out. You can damage it when sealing it. Right. So like from their perspective, right, they're not incentivized to do crossovers at all, right? Unless it's like a huge card like that gets like some sort of coverage.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. And that's, unfortunately, that's kind of how I think too.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of PSA. Like they've been shut down for so long. There is market share that has been being taken, So maybe this is one way to kind of like take it back.
That is super interesting though. Like watching these cards PSA crossover, I'm excited to see what will happen in the future. Not only for like PSA, not only from like what is it, BGS 9.5 to PSA 10s, right? That's probably the obvious choice. But like even from like BGS 9s to PSA 9s, right? For certain cards, there's almost a double value increase. Like older cards, almost double value increase, if not more, for BGS to PSA crossovers.
100%. And actually, we there was like a Lewandowski kaboom that had a crack BGS 9, and all of a sudden it comes back as a PSA 9. All of a sudden the value raised.
Exactly.
So that's something to think about. And I'm also curious to see SGC is starting to tighten up their. I feel like this is almost like a grading episode now. SGC is grading tougher, right? We're starting to see that. Like they're being a little bit more strict, holding up their standards, can we see SGC 10s crossing over to PSA 10s?
Possibly.
And it might be a good move too, because like if you think about it, like it only takes $28 if you're doing group submitters, or $30.
Yeah, maybe. I think in my opinion, like crossovers don't make sense unless it's like a super expensive card. Right?
True,
like
true,
that, because you're paying $300 for 1% chance. Like maybe 1% low, right? But like
yeah, and they go based on
5%.
value. They go, yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Yeah. So the expected value needs, like, you know, the payoff needs to be there. If you're just like, even if it's like $10,000 card, right? Like, it's not like the value, the chances are so low, it's probably not worth it. But
100%.
maybe I'm wrong.
Anyways,
but yeah,
that was good.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, we're gonna cut it now. Make sure to rate and subscribe, and also go head over to Asiancards. We're posting weekly episodes, and like I said, if you just wanted to hear about card talk, just collecting stuff, this is the channel for you guys. So with that being said, Raymond, you have anything else, man? Make sure to follow Raymond at Asiancards.
Yeah, join the Asiancards Facebook group. Just type in Asiancards in the search bar. Dude, we have a lot of members for buy and sell. If you would like to be on this podcast or know of anyone who would be an interesting contributor, feel free to DM Brian or me. Always love to have more variety on this show.
100%. And yeah, check out the Asian Facebook group, because I don't know what money y'all making, but I'm just watching it, eating the popcorn, be like, man, wow, that's one day
tomorrow.
That's my art gallery. But anyways, thank you guys. Talk to you guys soon.